The 5-year boom window. This is what 99% of Australian investors do not understand. And something that doesn't get spoken about and needs to get spoken about because people don't take this into consideration when they're investing. And this can cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this is where people can make mistakes. You've probably heard stories where people get into a market, they buy at the top of the market, and the market drops off. And this is something that you don't want to be buying at the top of the market. You want to be buying at the bottom of the market. You want to time it, because if you buy at the bottom of the market and ride that wave up of capital growth, it's going to, you're going to reap the rewards. Now, a boom cycle, it happens 10 to 20 years, okay, in a particular LGA. So an LGA is a local government area, or you can classify it as a council area. So you live in a location, there's a council that runs that city, okay, and there might be 10 or 20 suburbs in that city. Now, that LGA will have a growth phase, and that growth phase lasts for 5 years, okay, or I call it a boom phase, because in that 5-year boom phase, you're going to get consistent growth for those 5 years. And those 5 years, it can equal up to double-digit growth every single year. And this is something that's it happens a lot, and it's something that people need to take into consideration, because it's going to cost you thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, during a lifetime of investing in property. So we get in there in year one, and we ride that wave of capital growth. Okay, after that 5 years, there can be a slowdown in the market. There can be a market where it starts to reset and it can trend sideways, or it actually can be a decrease in the market. Okay, and that is something that you do not want to buy near the top end of the 5-year window, because if you get into, say, year 4 or 5 of the boom phase, and then the market does drop off or go sideways, or even just starts to trickle up a little bit, you've missed out on the last 3 years of growth that could help you propel into the next property after property. So it's something to take into consideration, because if we get in at the wrong time, like I said, it can cost you $100,000, if not millions. So here are some examples. We've got Frankston, 40 kilometers southeast of Melbourne. Okay, in 2013 to 17, it grew 78% in 5 years. So if you can see here, in 2013, if we got in at the right time, 2013-14, you can see that the market just started growing in double-digit growth for 3 years in a row, and then 2018 had a slowdown. 2019 it dropped 15%. Okay, so people think that property markets don't drop. They do drop. You just don't see it because, we're not looking at the time at that point in time, and we just don't see these things happen. Okay, but as you can see, in 2021, it started its second growth phase. Okay, so it's actually started up again. But prior to 2013, the last 10 years, the market done nothing here in Frankston. Okay, so it's something to take into consideration. And so we make sure if we got in at 2015 or 16, you could have cost yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars here. So it's something to take into consideration. Another market is Gympie. Gympie is a regional town 170 kilometers north of Brisbane. Okay, we were investing here a while ago and we got out because it started its growth phase in 2020 or the end of 2019. And as you can see, the market has doubled, it's had double-digit growth in the space of 2 years. And it's continuing. It's probably going to have another 30% plus in 2022, the way it's looking at the moment. Now, if we got in at 2017 or 18, we would have cost ourselves, and we would have had to wait for a long particular time for the market to start to pick up. So it's something that we don't just get in there early or too late. We want to try and get in there at the right time. Now, you can't time the market to the T. Now, but we can make an informed decision and see what's going on. And this is what we try to do for our clients, because then they're going to reap the reward. Now, here's another market. We've got Hobart, capital city of Tasmania. From the first year of the boom phase, so which is 2012 to 2018, had 66% capital growth. If we can see, it had 14%, and then it went all the way up to 15% to 2017. Then there was a drop off. The last 3 years after that, from 2017, it did nothing. But now it's in its second growth phase, 27%, which is phenomenal, and it's going to keep going. Now, we didn't want to get into this market where you got in at, say, 2014. Okay, you would have still had those 3 years of double-digit growth. But if you got in at year 2012, which was the right time, you would have reaped those rewards. Now, this is something to take into consideration, because people will just rush to locations or areas to invest because of the herd. you got to make an informed decision. And this is something that we do for our clients, because if we get in at the wrong time, this can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I don't want to, keep nagging on, but it's something that's really important, because if you're investing in, say, 2012, okay, you're invested in Hobart, you never invest in the same market twice. You then going to go and you have a look at where you want to invest for your next suburb. So you might go, 2013, I've done my analysis, I've seen what's going on, I'm going to go with Frankston, hypothetically. I'm just painting a picture here. And, then you've captured that growth. Then you go into 2014 and you might go into a different market again, okay? And this is something that, because you might be investing in property once a year, maybe twice in a year, maybe 3 times a year, depending on the individual. So it's timing the market and where it is in its growth phase. The boom phase is something to take into consideration, because it happens 2 times in a market cycle, and that market cycle can be 10 to 20 years to a particular LGA. Okay, so a lot of these markets prior 2010, some of these markets done really nothing. But then there's some markets that are really blossoming at the moment. If we look at Gympie done nothing for the last 20 years, but now it's started. And why? Because there's a lot of other influences where we talk about infrastructure projects, the supply versus demand, government policies, movement of people, etc. So this has an effect too. So property is made up, like I said, like a jigsaw piece puzzle. There's so many things that fit the puzzle, but we need to understand this growth or this boom phase, because if you make the wrong decision and get it at the wrong time, you can cost yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars when you're investing in your property portfolio. So something to look out for. You probably never heard about this, and it's something that you learned now today. But it's embedded in your mind, and something that you will take with you when you do go to invest in the future, or when you're just looking in particular markets. It helps you make a good informed decision.